Dave, welcome to the podcast.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. This isn't probably the voice. Like when I picture this guy, and I do it like in the chat, like when like this split personality Kevin. This
Yeah.
guy would sound like this. It would be more like, "Hi, Dave. Welcome to the podcast." Is that
This
kind of the
week we'll-
voice you hear this guy in, like a whiny
Yeah.
voice?
Look at us. We both
Look at
lost.
us. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh,
Dave, sucks being a loser.
yeah, it's not fun.
It's not.
Was
No.
it 2 years ago when you had the horrible season?
2 years. Last
'Cause
year
I-
my season was really good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because like you posted that clip of the rankings last year, and you were like right up there, and I was like,
Fourth,
oh, that
yeah.
must have been
Yeah, it was 2 years ago that I didn't win a game until like week 9.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bad nobody's had that kind of a bad run.
Yeah.
I think I
working
ended
on it.
up with maybe 2 or 3 wins that season, but like it was it didn't matter. It was like it was really bad. But start off the podcast. Rest in peace, Bob Knight.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you have a Bob Knight memory? You went to Purdue, so your paths would have crossed. I mean, you went to games and stuff like that. Do you have a Bob Knight story, Dave?
Not really. Not a live one. I mean, I went to pretty much every home basketball game, so I got to see every time IU came into town.
Yeah.
But not. I mean, I just remember him and Gene Katie, battling it out.
Yeah. So so this is guys from the league. Okay. So me, Rennie, Andy, Keith, Carl, names that people are all familiar with. We went to Midnight Madness for IU.
Okay.
In the 90s, late 90s. And a Big Ten guy, maybe you'll remember him, Luke Recker, was a freshman. And so funny story is like we were waiting outside in the parking lot. We were kind of doing the thing that Pat McAfee does on Saturday mornings. I don't know if you see that, like where he tries to get these kids to kick field goals.
Yeah.
We had taken a football with us, and out in IU's parking lot, we were like seeing how far we had human beings making goalposts, and we were seeing how far away we could get and kick like field goals. So that was just something fun we were doing. And then it was time to, like, everybody waited outside, and we were like at the doors, and we were like, oh, we're gonna run in and get seats. Well, I think Rennie and Carl, or Rennie and somebody had they were like, well, we're gonna go stand by some other doors. Well, we didn't know this. Okay, so evidently they found an open door. And so we all go running in, and we're rushing down on the floor, and we're trying to get the best seats. At half court, front row, there's Rennie, and if it was Carl or whoever it was, in the front row with their legs up, just sitting there, like as everybody comes piling in. And we were like, oh, I guess we already got seats. And so they had like found an open door, snuck in, had been sitting there for 10 minutes, you know what I mean? But so we're in practice, and Luke Recker was this like touted guy that everybody, couldn't wait to see. And they're scrimmaging. Tip ball, he gets the ball, goes down, dunks it, and they're talking about this kid with a huge vert. He's got like a 40-inch vert. As soon as he would dunk the basketball, Knight would blow the whistle, stop the scrimmage, and send everybody to go shoot free throws. Like he was not gonna let and it probably happened 5 times where Recker would just get loose. He would go he went down the middle lane one time, just tomahawk dunked it, free throws. And so I remember that. We went to a Michigan IU game when Tractor Trailer was playing there, and we were sitting right underneath the basket. And I remember this game's kind of like infamous because I think it was Michael Lewis was a IU player, and it was like a point guard, and Knight broke a clipboard over his head. So he just like, I don't think he meant to but he just was walking down, and like hit him in the head with a clipboard, and it broke. It's like,
I mean, Knight predates, growing up, I never knew I was going to go to Purdue. I didn't even, didn't even know what really much about it. And my sister ended up going there. But so, and my dad was an IU fan because he got his master's there. And so he, you know, we watched IU all grown up. So
Yeah.
obviously up until I went to college, I'd seen Bobby Knight and all that. And so, I mean, I always loved the guy, I hated
Yeah.
when
I
they
mean,
beat Purdue, but great
yeah.
stories, great, you know, analogies,
Well,
comments.
and like all the things, like I just saw, I was listening to a radio broadcast and they were kind of like, well, you can't separate the bad from the good. And they were kind of talking about some of this stuff. Well, some of the things that they're bringing up, like the Calbert Cheney whip stuff, and like, it's
Yeah.
like, and I know, like, I'm not trying to remove, but like all that was tongue in cheek. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was aware, he wasn't trying, but it's like that stuff is like iconic.
Different time, different place.
Oh, he couldn't get away with it today for sure. You know what I
I
mean? Like
mean,
he would.
think about our own grade school, like my grade school basketball. I don't know if I ever told I think it was my 5th grade year. We had a coach, and his last name was Smith, so it was probably related to you somehow.
Yeah,
Showed up to
probably. Yeah.
practice every practice. He showed up drunk,
Okay.
and
Have
he'd
you
run.
have you watched the Ben Affleck movie, the way back or
No, I
something?
haven't watched
You
that.
you watch it
Okay,
and because
it'd
it'll
take
be
me
your
back.
childhood.
So he had this, and he had a son that would always bring to practice because I guess who knows why the mom couldn't watch him during practice, and he was always getting into stuff. But he at the end of practice he'd be like, all right, if my son makes a free throw, then you guys don't have to run.
Yeah.
His kid couldn't even get it. So we knew it's like, oh gosh. We never, no, not allowed to drink water. Like they thought water back then was like the devil,
Yeah.
and so
You're
water
sissy.
breaks.
That's for
And
weak people.
I don't know how our parents didn't realize that, or maybe they just didn't think about it back then. But now, if you had a drunk coach, boy, you would be,
Oh, that lasts 5 minutes.
Yeah. So different times. So
when you watch the movie Hoosiers and they got to get the guy sober to be a coach, you were like, what the heck? You got to be
yeah,
sober?
I know. Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah. So anyway,
Oh, what an introduction to the podcast. So
yeah.
a trip down memory lane. Rest in peace, Bob Knight. I know that we got Purdue fans and Indiana fans and all that, but we will all look back and say without a shadow of a doubt that the 90s were the pinnacle of college basketball. Right? I mean, you got the Leitner shot over Kentucky. You have I remember in 1992, I think it was, Cincinnati, Indiana, Duke, Michigan, Fab Five, Final Four, like that. For me, that's just, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So Bob
Good
Knight,
stuff.
Bob Huggins, Rick Pitino, that whole thing, like
The Georgetown guy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
boy, he would
So,
be something today with the NIL. Like, with,
or
he was,
the UNLV, the running Rebs.
yeah.
Those guys were NIL before NIL was a thing. So
And then there'll never be a team. Back in that era was the Hank Gathers, Bo Kimball.
yeah,
I think it was Paul or Westhead, maybe it was, but their offense was basically you had to shoot the ball within 10 seconds and they'd score like 150 points.
Yep. So, all right, Dave, let's you get to start. I mean, we started to show off with some fun stuff, but we always start the show off with you getting to name your team of the week. And so can't wait to hear what this is.
Last couple weeks, it hasn't necessarily been the obvious, but this week, what a way to get your second win. That's has nothing to do with playing me because he would have beat everybody else.
Yeah.
But Brian, he's had a rough go of things. He's been scoring, plenty and playing people that score a lot. And this week it wouldn't have mattered who he played. Just happened to be me, but that's only because everybody plays well against me. But he knocks a 133, out of the park, gets that second win, gets himself back.
Up until this week, he's earned his name, Bad Beat Brian, right?
Well, and and we had been, even last week, we had him in our rankings higher than what he was in the standings, and I think it proved us right because now he's kind of moving up in the world and got the momentum, got the team.
We had been talking, right, there's 4 teams that were kind of clustered there, and then you got Lee that's hanging on to that 8th spot by a thread, and I said, at least, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I said my dark horse for somebody to take that 8th spot if Lee continues to slide is
Yeah.
Brian. I just think that he's got the strongest team. I think that he's had some things break badly for him. And
Yeah.
if those were to change and they would break the other way, I mean, if he got to play, the teams that Adam plays, he'd be, yeah.
Yeah. He's only a win away because he's like 80 points above Lee. So
Yeah.
he's working his way up. And there's a lot of injuries now that we can talk about maybe, how some of that might affect some of these teams. But, good job, Brian. Welcome
Yeah.
to the Miller Time Team of the Week for this season. And just wish it wasn't against me.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll tell you, it's harder to pick a hillbilly of the week because number one, I could give it to like I love you, Lee. I could give it to Lee every week because he's on a 5-week skid, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and so we try not to be like, oh, we're just gonna like hammer a team. And I could give it to Brennan every week because Brennan's team's just hot trash, right? But like we've kind of
Well,
already.
You gave it to me last week, right?
Yeah, I gave it to you because there was no other choice, right? It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, so you, Brennan, Lee, like your team, but like I feel like we kind of given up on those teams,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And so I'm gonna give it to Ed only because like, and it's not even anything he did with his lineup. It's
Yeah.
not him being a hillbilly. It's just when you and Ratty are right there next to each other and you play head to head, like I expected him to come out and do more. And so, I know that Cousins got hurt, man. It's that's a tough beat.
Yeah.
But here, this will tell you how much more we expect from Ed. He's not getting it because he didn't plug anybody in his lineup. He's
Yeah.
not getting it because, you know what I mean? Like he's playing bad guys. He's getting it because I expected that he was going to show up and produce more than 100 points, and he only got 80.
And it really, it wasn't Cousins getting hurt because
No,
he'd already
Cousins got
scored
23
20
points. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to affect him moving forward way more than it did this week.
Yeah. Flowers hurt.
Where did he go wrong? It was
Well, he replaced his kicker that got dropped with a kicker that and so here's the funny thing. So Fairburn is, let me see if I can pull him up, if it'll pull up here. Okay. He's ranked number 11. Let me read off some scores he's had. 9, 8, 13, 12, 15, 8, and then 1. He scored 8 the week that I played him, which was down from his 13, 12, 15 that he had the 3 weeks before that. And that was the week that I dropped Tucker, and Tucker had 19.
Yeah.
So he hurt me by only scoring 8 when I could have had way more. It didn't matter. I won anyway. But for Ed, he turns around and scores 1. So, of all the kickers that he picked up, he could have picked up somebody that scored way better, would have put him way closer. I mean, don't you think? Like on the waivers, I didn't pull up your. I don't know if you posted a waiver wire team like you did a week ago.
No, this
but
week I did a best of so far.
Yeah. But there was for sure a kicker that would have scored way more. I think that there was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously more than one, but somebody that would have got him real close. I mean, he only lost by 23 points. There was probably somebody that.
I mean, you could point out to Pollard, but Pollard actually scored more than one of his running backs, so it's not that. And Flowers, getting 2 points, but he wouldn't have got. I mean, I think it was just a little. I think Buffalo defense has been super disappointing.
Yes.
I mean, for weeks now, like you want to plug them in because you just assume that they're going to get ahead, force teams to throw, and get a bunch of picks and sacks. And they're not doing that. I mean, they only got 5 points against Baker in Tampa. I mean, Baker was injured.
All right, well, Ed, we still love you, but I mean, you are the poster child for the Harrison hillbilly of the week. I mean, you're the graphic we use for it if we continue to put that out there. But so, Ed, congratulations. Do better. You're 4-4, and you don't want to slot. I mean, there's other hungry teams that want to. We don't need
Yeah.
Ed doing Ed things. Okay, so let's talk about our best teams that we've got. We've got Adam, number one. He
Yeah.
faced Lee,
And it was
97 point.
a winnable week this week. I mean, Adam would have lost to, well, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7 teams. He would have lost to 7 other teams. So it was a week that Adam was very beatable.
Not
But
that we're taking shots at Adam.
no. I
I,
mean,
I
you with Adam, you got to take your chance. When you got a chance, when he scores under 100, you got to capitalize. And
yeah.
And Lee
He
wasn't the team to do it.
yeah, no. And I mean,
he was what, the least? Yeah, he scored the least points of the week, and against the number one team.
yeah.
That's not bringing your A game.
No, and I mean, to Lee's defense, Jefferson, Connor, Ertz, all on IR.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
tough.
yeah, because what do you do?
And
Like,
even if Jefferson comes back, is Dobbs the answer? Dobbs
I
is
know,
gonna
I know. And so, like, this week, I think they're putting somebody else. So that's almost, you don't know what's going to happen this week. And then Dobbs,
yeah.
his week 1, is he going to blow up and be great? Who knows? So yeah, at some point, Lee's going to have to decide, these IR guys, are they worth keeping on the bench?
Yeah. And I mean, he benched Purdy versus the Bengals, which was probably fine but he still scored 22, which I would have loved to have on my team, but he played golf that only got 15, and so that's
So
tough.
now he's got, what, this week is going to be tough, because he's got those 3 guys that are on IR, and he's got another 3 that are on bye. So what do you do with
Yeah.
all that?
Yeah. And I said, I don't know if you saw it, but I posted that graphic, just like I gave out some little things. You know what I mean? I was like, Adam most consistent. He is. He has not scored under 90 all season long, and he's got, I think, 5 weeks where he's been above. He actually has more weeks above 100 than I initially thought. And so we tease him. His team's really good, and it does not fluctuate that much. He scores in the high 90s or in the hundreds every week.
But I mean, you can't, obviously not taking anything away, but the 644 points against is like way, the only person close to that is you. Everybody else is way above that.
Yeah, no. He has been fortunate that he
Yeah.
has not played any of these juggernaut teams that have. He has not faced a team that scored high points when he's
Yeah,
played them.
and
You know what
when
I
he's
mean?
faced teams that are the winning record teams, they've had their worst week in a while.
Yeah,
Apparently.
yeah.
So
So, and then we'll get to this coming week's matchup in a second, but all right. So let's talk about Travis, which I dubbed the most. I mean, Travis has been my pick from draft day as the best team in the league, and
yeah.
if I was filling, I mean, here's the truth: does Adam deserve the number one place in the power rankings? When you're undefeated and you score over 90 points every single
Yeah.
week,
And he's
he
already
get
beat Travis.
and he's beat Travis head to head, he gets the nod. But if I'm being honest, and I want to say what the best team in our league is, bar none, it's Travis's. And because Travis just has more explosive weeks. He's got 3, could have been 4 high points if it wasn't for Brian. And that was with Mahomes scoring 7.6 points. He scored 127.3 and Mahomes had less than 8 points. You tell me how that's possible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Junior to
Yeah.
105.9.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was
that wins a lot of football games.
a lot of it was late. but they all count the same. But it was almost he was
Yeah, it
just
was too late for
insurmountable.
him, but
You know,
yeah,
he didn't really do anything wrong. I'd say, Pachinko was his big, and Myers were the big disappointments. And
yeah,
it's hard to say a tight end is a big disappointment because outside of a couple guys, you don't really expect a whole lot out of that position.
yeah,
but Pachinko, I mean, and that might have, Mahomes and Pachinko sort of went hand in hand. The whole offense kind of sucked. So
yeah. Andy, 107.3 versus Brennan. I mean, Brennan wasn't going to put up much of a fight, but it doesn't matter because Andy just keeps on getting his job done.
he does, man. What do you make of the name change? How does he even
Polk,
know that what
yeah,
I
Polk
don't
High
get,
School.
was he is that a like I mean I know I associate it with Danny, but
Yeah,
how did Andy figure it out?
he went back in time. I don't know.
I don't
He's been in chat for a while, so maybe
Yeah,
he
I guess
just,
so, but
but um what a beautiful thing. I
yeah.
mean, and what a surprise for people when they go and they play Polk High School, it's like I've been
Is
put
it possible that Andy just came to the draft,
and
paid some
Danny's running the
money,
team.
ate some chicken, and then turned the team back over to Danny? And it's been
No,
it's been
because
Danny
Danny
doing
would
this
have
all the
already
time.
jumped in the chat to be like, boom, look at me now.
Yeah.
Um, it's too funny. Andy's team is really good. And man, just not surprising, but because most people thought he had a decent draft, but we kind of in that Danny spot, you kind of got used to having not that great a competition, and now you know Andy is up the game a little bit. I've been doing those McMahon gifs, where he's like all emotional, the wrestling president.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was gonna do one. Yeah, I was gonna do one. Hey, tell me about what it used to be like when you'd see Danny on your schedule. Oh, hold on. I can't.
Especially when it was a week where but it was Wednesday or Thursday,
And he
and he was
hadn't done
missing a
anything.
couple spots, and you're
Yeah.
like, no, those aren't getting filled.
Dave, tell me what it used to be like when you had Danny in week 10.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you needed a win.
oh, Dave, what was it like when you got your schedule and you saw that you were playing Danny twice this season?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Andy's really good. He keeps winning. 4 wins in a row. He's averaging over 100 points a game. What can you say? Ratty 104 again to 81
yeah.
over Ed. We kind of talked about that when Ratty he keeps getting it
The
done.
Tua and Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to count Josh out because I think, Tua and Hill together, they can score 50, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
when you get 50 from 2 spots, that's a good start.
I mean,
So,
normally when you leave almost 40 points on your bench with a backup quarterback, that you're not going to play
yeah.
over Tua. I mean,
Yeah.
why would you? But he didn't miss it. Even like, 10-point difference or 12-point or whatever it is, but wouldn't have mattered this game. But yeah, I mean,
Dave,
that
tell me about your second best week of the year.
I know. Yeah, well, I mean, I was sort of I was kind of watching the scores, and some guys were doing halfway decent, but then every time I was like seeing other scores, I'm like, oh wait, I think that guy's on Brian's team. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I think that guy's on Brian's team.
I
And
mean,
it
he
was
did that to you, and Lamar got 13.
yeah,
Dude, his wide receivers were just insane this week. I mean, if he doesn't play Bourne and he plays Hopkins, that's your
oh,
high points lead. Oh wait, he got high points
he
anyway.
got high points anyway. I mean, that was like up and down. His worst guy was 7.9,
Yeah.
like, and even a down week for Lamar didn't
Yeah.
matter when you get all those wide receiver points.
Yeah. So
Stupid
did you
Jacksonville
take
defense.
do you take any hope away from scoring 92 and feeling like that your team
Well,
performed a little better?
if I have to find hope somewhere. So if I did, it was the fact that 1 week removed from his headache game,
Yeah,
that at least Robinson got some touches and got a touchdown and looked pretty good.
yeah.
Hopefully they'll decide to keep using him
Now,
because it's
what'd
been
you think about?
inexplicable.
Let me ask you, because this is a name that comes up quite a bit. What'd you think about Waller's performance?
Yeah, that was I mean,
If
not
you
that it would have
saw
made up 40 points, but
if
I
you
don't even know
saw
what
him
he
out in
did.
this if you saw him out in the street, what would you do?
He was such a tease. He had a good couple weeks there where I'm like, all right. And Tyrod was, throwing it to him. And now Tyrod's hurt and he's hurt. And I think
Dave, you remember when
I'm
you
probably done with him.
Dave,
You know, as
tell
far
me
as my
about those
team,
tell me about those times when you used to start Taysom Hill.
yeah. I mean, that guy, you he has like 3 weeks of twos, and I think he was started by people those weeks.
Yeah.
you know, like no. Now, but I took a lot of heat a few weeks ago for David Carr. And I mean, he hasn't
Oh,
been the problem. He
no.
scored over 20, between 20 and 30, like all the weeks that I've started him. So it's not like I've lost because of him. It's
Yeah.
been the rest of my team that's been, just not doing enough and not playing the right people. I would have beat 4 other teams this week if I played them.
Yeah. And then it was me versus the skank. Me versus Rennie.
Did you
Uh,
think you had any hope when you had a lead going into
no, because I mean, I
the
just
kicker? Kickers are tough
kicker
because
just
they
gotta.
get one kick, they get
I mean,
4 points. And
if
you needed St. Brown to not play at all.
yeah, no, no, no. Mine was more about when I had a chance, like in the 4 o'clock slated games. That's where I failed. Chase did good, but Ayuk didn't really. I mean, 10, like a touchdown would have been huge there because you go from 10 to 16. He had a chance to get one in, and he didn't. Nakua had, it's like, really 43 yards, and he caught all those early, dude. He got them real early, and then it's like
Yeah.
nothing. It just never changed. And so for me, it was more about the missed opportunities that I had at the 4 o'clock slot to build more of a lead going into the Monday night. And so I knew when I only had when Baltimore I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. Rennie did great. His players really, but Baltimore's score it went from
Yeah.
being like 12 to 9 to 6. It was just trending bad for me.
Yeah.
So,
They needed I mean, there's defenses out there that have scored 20,
oh, I mean, you just look at the way that things kind of broke in that game. Instead of, because Arizona's playing for their life. Well, what
Yeah.
if they throw a pick six there? What if they pick up 3 or 4 more sacks instead of giving up garbage touchdowns? It
Yeah.
just broke the way for me. And here's the truth: none of it would have mattered. None of it
Yeah.
would have mattered. For me to win this game, I have to go back in time and not draft Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the truth. So now, before we get into the Week 9 matchups, Dave, there's some people that are out there on the interwebs, like that do the group me chat. They might think we hate each other because we just never seem to get along. People jump in the chat and they start talking about things like flex, and it sounds like we're arguing. We're right here on Wednesday night as we stand. Where's our
Well,
relationship at?
apparently you're playing a role. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of all of that. Not now. This is me. This is
Oh,
Kevin.
is it? Is this you?
Yes, yes, this is me.
But on the
But
group me chat,
on the group me chat,
you're playing an a-hole.
I'm playing an a-hole. Yes,
Okay. Okay, well,
yes.
that makes more sense then.
That's much different than Adam, who is an a-hole.
Well, now.
Oh, sorry.
No, we don't mean that.
No. No.
I guess
So my point is
I
that
grow tired of the
here's what I
narrative.
want to know. No, here's what I want to know. So, like, when like, because they are so, it's like a sniper. It's like a whole week will go by. All this chatter on the thread. Me, Rennie Jr., the most of it. All this stuff. And then one thing, it's kind of like in The Office where it's like, that's what she said. It's like somebody just tees this thing up, and then Travis comes in with a flex joke. And I think it's amazing because I'm like, here's what I know. I'm like, he's been monitoring this the whole time. He sees all the things that are coming in. And then when like something gets teed up, it's like, well, that wouldn't happen if there was a flex. And I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. It's so perfect.
And maybe that's where we differ because
A, I know we're never going to get a flex spot. And B, it's like Travis is just saying it to be funny and you get offended by it.
I don't think he is.
Oh, yes.
I don't think it's not a joke.
No, he's in on the joke.
It doesn't seem like a joke.
Yeah.
But then you
he pays $60 every year for the last 10 years.
And you're saying if he really felt that strongly, he would have already formed his other league and had a coup.
Yeah.
Which he's go for it,
No, I'm saying that. I mean,
but your implication.
Do you think that Adam means everything he says?
Oh yeah.
No.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
But your implication that my response has anything to do with my current season, when I've had the same response as far back as like for year after year after year after year.
It had anything to do with your current season. What'd I say?
You called me a whiny loser.
Whoa, no, that was just stating facts. That had nothing. No. I've just said.
You said that's my role, as if that's always been my role. But it's not. Like, I mean, not in historically. I was just kind of poking fun at you for getting so offended by Travis. But I can bring it up and prove what you said. It just wasn't accurate.
Yeah, no. My point is that if you are you allowing what Travis says to like offend you? Like, it's way easier just to laugh at it.
I wasn't offended. I was just we were both playing a role. He points out something, and I come back with what the facts of the league are, and that's what we do.
I know, but
then you wouldn't have anything to talk about.
Exactly. But if deep down you're annoyed by Travis saying flex all the time, you're missing the joke.
Well, that's part of the joke, is that I have a strong reaction every time he brings it up.
Yeah, and if you tell me you're in on the joke and you're just saying that because it just adds it on and makes it funnier, then that's great. But if you're realistically annoyed because you think that has some kind of plot to change our league, it's like flex is just a joke. It's just like
maybe we need to get him on and let him say that to our face.
He's never going to admit to it. Why would he admit to it? That's defeating the purpose. He's going to come with forms and papers and a lawyer and talk to us about why we need to change it. He's going to hold a vote. Like, no, he's not going to be like, yeah, I'm really messing around. You know what I mean? No, he's going to keep being him. And I'm saying he's harmless. And it's funny.
So I can keep responding however I want to respond.
You can, and just be prepared.
I was more annoyed with you than I was with him, because you tried to make it about this season, and it's never been about this season.
I wasn't trying to make it about this season. I was just making fun of you for being a loser this season.
Let's see if I can go back here and put exactly what you said. It was implied
was it hurtful
that because I'm losing, that I'm bitter about him bringing up.
You'll find it because it's a long diatribe that I sent out on Sunday. Oh wait, there's Saturday.
Right, I'm stuck on this post of Rennie with a girl on the couch. I gotta hang out there for a bit. Sorry.
Wait, you're the one with the thumb?
I don't even know who that is, but I was so glad that somebody posted something finally after that Rennie post with the guy sitting with his thumb, because every time I get on and see if there's any new messages, that stupid picture was right there.
What is the picture that Josh posted of the Arizona player and the girl? Because I
Here
thought
we
maybe
go. You
it looks
put,
like,
I can only hope that the always offended moping loser is just your hillbilly Harrison League character.
yes. Yes, you sounded like a mopey loser when you keep complaining about it. So I was just hoping that you're
But
just playing a
it's
role.
so it's funny for him to bring it up, but it's me being a mopey loser when I do my side.
Because it sounds like you're being real.
Well, if I don't put it out there as if it's,
Yeah.
I mean, do I really?
Travis can start his own league. Kevin and Rennie can join. I'd rather stop playing than water down the Hillbilly Harrison League. Like, I know that's your stance. That's everybody's stance. It doesn't mean that
Is
I
it?
would just, other than Travis, yes. But when I would just like to give Travis kudos for dropping in an amazing "That's What She Said" joke, which is what his flex joke is. Because he doesn't have a flex spot. This league is holding him back. Like, that's just funny. It's funny because that's who Travis is. Agree or to disagree?
We can agree to disagree.
That's what I said. Agree to disagree. Yeah. Yeah. So, and just for everybody watching, I love Dave. And Dave can have and I don't want a flex spot. I'm the one that would say more than anybody that I love the tradition of this league. I love
Yeah.
how hard it is. I love that you have to pay attention all the time. I love that Travis loves the flex.
And like this week we haven't started the matchup yet. Would I play 4 wide receivers this week if I could? Yes. Because I have 4 better wide receivers than a second running back. So, but I don't want that in this league because it's just not, it's not what we're doing.
Ah. So let's start off with our matchups.
Okay.
We have Welcome to the Red Kingdom, who's the #1 team in the league, and who is he facing, Dave?
I think he's facing somebody that's at the peak of all their best players being available.
Yes.
Is that right? Is that where I'm at
Yes.
here?
If Jordan Love and Royce Freeman are my best players,
But
then
you know
yes.
what? For all your your bench being totally non-existent this week, you're still projected higher than me and several other people. It's not like you don't have a decent team to put together.
That's not really saying much, Dave.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, rewind this and play that back. Hey, Kevin, your team is projected to score more than my team. Oh wow, is that the
Well,
mark of success we're looking for?
okay, maybe not,
Yeah.
but
Okay. I mean, I'm going up against the top team in the league. I would have liked to had all my players,
you don't want
and
Jordan. Are you worried about Jordan Love,
I'm
or
worried
you
about every
think?
single player on here. Jamar Chase and yeah, I mean that the most confidence that I have is in Jamar Chase because he's always effing open.
He is. He
Yeah,
is that.
yeah,
What you just said.
yeah. Um, but I,
But I
I,
mean,
I, 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 I amuse myself though because I think that whiny Kevin with the loser bag talking about how we're gonna lose to Adam, and then Rip Kevin who, says shut up, you whiny,
yeah.
trash who picked this team, and then drunk Kevin saying, "Oh my bad, that was me." Like I think that's funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I amuse
But
myself. Like this
but
is
yeah.
fun
I
for me.
mean,
This is a
but
bad,
back to the
bad
matchup.
matchup.
He's
It's
got
bad.
his normal. You know,
He's
he's
going.
got
Hey,
options. He's
hey,
got
he's
people on his
going.
bench that people would start, but he doesn't have to start them because he's got people with better matchups.
Adam, if you're thinking about going zero kicker this week, I'm for it. Okay, just so you know,
Oh, so the 102 projection is without a kicker.
it's without a kicker. Yeah,
Hmm.
so zero kicker is the play this week, Adam,
Okay.
and also probably zero defense and maybe zero quarterback if you're just thinking about it. So
But
I
his,
don't.
his defense. Oh, his defense is going up against a guy that's going to be starting for the first time. Okay, that's
Yeah, that's great.
that's
All right. Let's look at who Travis is playing. Travis is playing Danny. I mean, oh, well, psych,
it's
it's
not.
Andy.
I don't
So
even
this
know
should
what Polk High School is. Am I supposed to know what that means?
Polk High School? That's Married with Children.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, because he used to have his little. He
Yeah.
always had the Bundy icon. That's
Four
right.
four four touchdowns in one game.
He did. So Polk High School's back, and he's
Yeah.
facing. This could be.
This is going
This
to be a
could be
great
good.
matchup.
Yeah.
Mahomes
Hurts and
versus Jalen
Mahomes.
Hurts. I mean,
You got
here,
running backs, all four of them. Hunt's been. He's kind of thrown into the mix because of the Chubb
any
thing, but he's gotten
any way
better every week.
Devontae Adams gets traded between now and
I thought the deadline just
it
happened.
did it. I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
it was
Was it
yesterday.
tonight or
It was
yes?
yesterday at 4, I think. So no, he's.
Anyway, Andy trades Devontae Adams.
I think Adams maybe wished. I mean, now he's back to. I don't know.
The
It's not
rookie.
Garoppolo starting. It's gonna be somebody else.
They said the rookie's starting for the
Yeah.
first time.
So not even O'Connell. So maybe that'll
That
be good for him. If I
that
was a rookie quarterback, who would I chuck the ball towards every time? Just throw it Devontae's way.
they should have
But
traded. They should have traded Devontae. He deserved it. This will be a great.
it
This
looks
will
like
be
he needs a tight end, so he'll be picking up some scrap
yeah,
heap.
yeah. But by the time that Andy puts in, a tight end, this is going to be an even matchup.
Yeah.
On paper. So, all right. So it is Call Me Ratty versus Off While Saying Boiler Up.
I mean, there's probably a lot of that going on at Purdue.
Yeah. You're saying there's a lot of guys that can't beat off while saying.
No, they have trouble with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tua versus Burrow, Eckler
Yeah.
versus Harris, Moss versus Hubbard. All that stuff looks pretty even.
I think Hubbard is kind of the sort of the number one now, there, whereas
I know that Josh scored over 100, but so did Junior last week. So this could really go either way. And I would love nothing more than to see Josh take an L here, but that's just me being selfish. So
yeah. But he's got really no major injuries, I don't think, So this is kind of Junior's down there with me that every week a win is kind of a big deal. Whereas for Josh, I think he's probably right in the middle. So for him, it's just to solidify his place,
All right. So Rennie versus High Points Brian.
Yeah. They both scored, 120, 130. So it's like they're both coming off big weeks.
Brian's got to replace his defense. Rennie's got to replace his kicker. So
the stats aren't quite right, but you got Allen versus Jackson. That's a good one. You got.
Did Rennie offer to give me Josh Allen for this week?
Oh yeah, but you had to give him right back. I'd want to see that in writing if I were him.
So you're saying if I traded Rennie, Trevor Lawrence for Josh Allen, you would approve it?
Well, maybe not that I already heard the back thing of I'll trade you for 1 week. I think that goes against the spirit of the league.
Okay. All right, just checking.
But Brian, he'll be able to plug in Hopkins over his injured now born. But this will be, it's kind of a make or break. This is Brian for real? Is he going to keep up? Is he going to win outright, or is he going to score enough and have somebody score more than him and be the bad beat guy?
Lee, poor Lee. He's got.
Well, they both got some work to do this week.
They both got work to do. I'm gonna say this to the league, okay? I have been nudging Ed to make sure he fills out his lineup. We're over halfway through the season. that ends now. Okay, no more messages from me to Ed about his team. He can do with it what he wants, and so I feel like we've gotten over halfway through. Ed, I love you. You're on your own. So we'll see what happens.
But as far as Ed goes, like if there was ever a week you had to replace, your traded for tight end and a new quarterback, at least, he's going up against somebody else that is kind of in a spiral. So
Yeah.
it,
But for Lee, he could right his ship here, right? I
yeah,
mean,
this is a way to, get
hold
himself
off
what could
Brian
be a
and
cheap win
yeah,
if Ed can't get I mean, I've looked at the quarterback pool,
not
up and
good.
down. It's tough, man. I mean, yeah, one of
Yeah.
those guys like last week with the Levis. I mean, if anybody really thought that would have happened, they would have picked him up and started him,
Yeah.
And now this week, is he going to do it 2 weeks in a row? Who knows? I mean, good luck with that if you think he's going to score 40 or whatever.
All right. So that brings us to our last matchup. I mean, this one
I
is
think we're done.
this is this is one that we would probably find on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, no doubt. It's
Sundance
it ain't
Kid
good.
versus Dead Rats.
Yeah. Not a
You
lot
both
going
have
on
full
here.
lineups.
Yeah, and yet the projection is pretty low, and I don't, other than finding a way. Too bad that since there's no rule that exists in the universe that would allow me to play my other wide receiver over Warren.
Yeah.
Um, that would be my best option is
Hmm.
to be able to put him in the lineup. I want to play Johnson a lot. I've been
I don't know
watching
that that's how a flex lineup works, that you get to play one running back and like 5 wide receivers.
there. No, like that's the legit. A lot of them are.
I thought it
It's
was 2, 2, and then flex. 2
not.
running backs, 2 wide receivers, and then a
I
flex
mean,
spot.
there are some like that.
That's the traditional one that I would know of.
No, because then it allows, like, if anything, you. I mean, initially when they first started, it was to it wasn't so you could play 3 running backs. It was you would have a spot where your second running back spot. Now there are plenty of other options, but I mean, I could be wrong, but I think the most traditional flex one has one dedicated running back spot, and then the other one is running back, wide receiver, tight end. And
No, I think you go back and look at it. I think that I'm right and you're wrong. But you can do some research and you can tell me
okay,
next week. I think that the most traditional one is a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and then a wide receiver / running back / tight end as your
I
that.
mean, so you're saying no matter what, you would have to play 2 running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, the flex league I was
Because
in
a lot of
Yahoo
people would
was not
say
like
that
that.
there's more, there's 32, and this go way back, okay? When this first started 15 years ago, whatever it would have been, 30 at the time, 32 starting running backs without handcuffs or without, you know what I mean, like dual
Yeah,
back. So 32 running backs, and then if teams weren't throwing the ball as much. Trying to get 3 wide receivers out of 32 teams was tougher. So
but
the
you had,
fact
I mean, well, obviously that's changed because you got,
it changed way now, but
yeah, because you
before,
got
I mean,
60.
never would you have before. I mean, now you're starting from Buffalo or from Kansas City. You're starting wide receiver 3s from some of these teams. From the
Yeah,
Cincinnati Bengals, you're starting wide receiver 3 from some of these teams. You wouldn't have done that 15 years ago.
yeah, yeah. But
So I
the
might
flex
be
league I
wrong.
was in a long time ago was one
One
running
running back,
back and then one spot that was a flex, and then
3
and
wide
then
receivers.
then there were only 2 more. I think there was one less spot.
Oh, 8
Yeah,
spots.
yeah, there was only 8.
That makes drafting a little bit easier.
It was different. I don't miss that league.
No. I mean, going back to before, we're going to close this out. Going back to before, I love the fact that our league has 12 teams. That immediately makes it tougher.
Yeah,
I love the fact that our team has a traditional lineup. It makes drafting and waiver wires tougher. In the new world where you can have a 4-week IR, do I wish that we had an IR spot? I do, but
Yeah.
I know that would
Did that
change
did
things.
that rule? When did that was that part of COVID too?
Around COVID. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
directly because of COVID or if it was something else, but the 4-week IR
Yeah,
is
that is,
within the
and
last
that
4 years.
and I think that would be something that would make sense because of that rule. That wasn't the case in COVID. It was
More
the reason
people
that
are on. You wouldn't have put somebody on IR if they were coming back in 4 weeks 5 years ago.
yeah.
They were just
I mean,
what I mean?
obviously the reason I thought it made sense in COVID years is because out of the blue,
Oh
in the
yeah.
middle of the week, somebody got sick and you were screwed, but you knew they weren't out for the season, and so
Right.
the teams were allowed to put them on IR, and so
Yep.
you feel like you should be able to too in fantasy. But
Right.
once that went
Yeah, yeah.
away, but with the 4-week thing, I think you're right. That could be revisited with a caucus and a vote and some campaigning and stuff like that.
Legislation. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do feel for Lee because teams are more I mean,
Yeah.
just like like the
But we
guy
wouldn't give you
that's
4 of those spots.
no, it'd only give you one, but like, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
There could be an executive decision in order for that. I could, and I don't
and
think it hurts the integrity of the league.
well, and I don't know what's going on with Kyrene Williams, but like he had a little ankle injury, and then the bye week was coming up, and they were just like, "Oh, we're going to put him on the IR." And for those teams, I don't know that he was that hurt, but it
Yeah.
kind of like what it did for them was it enabled them to bring up a running back from the practice squad because
Yeah.
of their 52-man roster, and so now they're kind of using that like, it's a young kid. We don't want to, we value him in the future. We're going to put him on the IR because we're going to get him healthy. We're going to give him 4 weeks where like that mentality that just didn't
Yeah.
exist anymore. And so 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when he would have just been injured and then like he would have maybe played after 3 weeks. But now it's like
Well,
they can
so
pull
if
up somebody.
the 2 or 3 of you that are watching this, if you have an opinion on a 4-week, because of the 4-week rule, having an IR spot in fantasy for next year, bring it up. Let us know.
Yeah,
Comment.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other. I
Yeah.
just know that it seems like this year that teams are taking more advantage of that. You get more guys that for bumps and bruises getting thrown to the IR so that they can bring somebody up, and it just seems like you wouldn't have IR'd somebody over that and made them miss 4 weeks
Yeah.
before.
I mean,
There's
I
an
guess
extra game. There's like all this other stuff.
the flip side is if you drop them, somebody else could pick them up, and then they're in that predicament instead of you. Or you could try to time it to pick them up the week that they're going to come back, but so is everybody else, and then save your waiver spot.
It's a great example.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of strategy that could go into that. It's not like you're
the
stuck.
kid from Miami.
Although I wonder if it even would let him drop Jefferson. It probably wouldn't.
No.
Because there's certain players that won't let you.
It wouldn't let me drop Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the kid from Miami that I drafted that went on IR right away, like, yeah, drop him because but I mean,
let somebody else take a chance and hold him forever.
Yeah. If he ends up doing something, you know what I mean? It wasn't that big of a draft spot. It doesn't really matter. Kyren Williams, who was the number 3 running back before he went to IR, even though I didn't draft him, I picked him up off waivers. Like, I don't want, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm going to hold on to him. So, and that's fine. I can do, I mean, like, it's not hurting my team, but I know that like with Lee and some of those where you got multiples, it's tough. So, all right. Well, everybody that's not named Adam, good luck this week, and hope that you do well. Adam and I think, are probably going to call Merle and Linda Hutchinson and do some couples therapy and see if we can get this thing worked out. Or I'll just take him to B-Dubs and buy him some wings. Either way.
that sounds good.
Yeah. So, All right, everybody have a great weekend, and we will catch you next time. Dave, thanks.